Twice a year, a Kota Kote takes place here at the Civic Center. The various Bafokeng entities report back to the people on our progress, and the people have a chance to put questions to these entities. But we, the Bafokeng, have managed the contradiction between democracy and traditional leadership so well that many people feel better represented at this traditional level than they do at a local democratic government level.
Ke bona le lefatshe le developegileng le nna le muro re na le morokotso re na le ntho e leng gore re itshwere ka yona go a bialo go na le masimo go na le diplot go na le everything mo Bafokeng, so that's why bile gona nang ke itumela gore anong le stadium sa rena se tlo kgona go operate re tlo kgona tlhaka at least in the where the wara sentse re le go moragonyana mara ba tlotse ba
90% ya Bafokeng ke di minor ke re re minor mo like nane re itse gore mine
phala ya rona ga re tsena sekolo e better than before.
At the heart of apartheid policy was a notion of homelands for different ethnic groups in South Africa. Black people were therefore not citizens of South Africa, but of their own particular homeland, such as Transkei, Venda, etc. In 1972, the South African government lumped 9 Setswana-speaking communities, including the Bafokeng, into the self-governing homeland of Bophuthatswana, under leader Lucas Mangope. December 6, 1977, the homeland of Bophuthatswana was granted independence by South Africa. And over in the stadium is where the celebrations took place. Across the road is the old Parliament building, where members of Parliament met for legislative procedures. Jose Lebone had the automatic right as a member of Parliament to sit in the legislature, but he rejected that and went as far as refusing to hoist the Bophuthatswana flag in his village of Bafokeng. Although there were attempts to crush our sense of who we are, we, the Bafokeng, managed to keep our tradition and unity alive during apartheid and refused to compromise our integrity. Then in 1988, a Mofokeng, Rocky Malebane Metsing, who maintains he was instructed by the ANC underground, took dramatic action and instigated a coup in Bophuthatswana. He was president for a day before the South African army intervened and restored Mangope to power. Mangope felt betrayed and instituted massive repression to make it clear that Bophuthatswana was no place for political opposition. Anyone thought to be involved with the coup was detained without trial. We're now at the Royal Bafokeng Maximum Security Prison near Mafeking in the northwest. And behind me are the cells where the coup plotters were kept. And across here is a wall that was purposely built to separate the coup plotters from the rest of the prisoners. Jose Lebone was detained and interrogated about his connections to the coup. He said that a gun was fired behind him and water poured over his head. He was later released when the police were served with an urgent court application. Just over a month later, Lebone narrowly escaped re-arrest outside his home and fled to Botswana, where he spent many years in exile. This is the female section of the Royal Bafokeng Maximum Prison. It is here that during the coup, Memokgolo and 51 other Bafokeng women were kept without charge for 10 days. I found Memokgolo's name in the prison register. The detention of many Bafokeng and the exile of their king created a tense political atmosphere in Bafokeng and the surrounding villages. This Catholic mission was just outside the Bophuthatswana boundary and is where Memogolo took refuge from harassment by the Bophuthatswana police and met with Bafokeng people during this time.
A ke simolole ka nako ya Bophuthatswana ene ke be ke re tota ga ne se ka mission o mo nakong ela Bophuthatswana ga ke itse gore a nka bodile ra kgona gore re kopana ka mokgone re kopana ka teng.
The oppression from the Bophuthatswana security forces and the government was very severe, and because Bafokeng village was in Bophuthatswana and this mission right next to Bafokeng village was in South Africa, I absolutely refused the pressure of the Bophuthatswana government and Mr. Mangope in particular to deny the liberation movements, the Bafokeng people, the civics and the unions from meeting. And so we offered this mission, all the buildings, the field for mass meetings of anybody.
At the time we had now split in two groups. There were the pro-Mangope and the pro-Molotlehi. What I did then was to unify the people, to unite the people. And I think that is still my duty. Whether you are in that camp or this camp, if the fact remains that you are a Bafokeng, and I want the Bafokeng to be a unity. Ga ke tsora Bafokeng ba kile ba khona gore ba ipope ba ne se ba leng sone le tota bokgoni ya gore ba lwe gore kgosi ya bone e be boe ga ke tsora nka ba ba khone jang.
This is Maggie Bopalamo, who wrote a book about the struggle in Bophuthatswana and the Royal Bafokeng nation during apartheid.
When I got to Royal Bafokeng, I found there were many women in a cell. Many women from different parts of Bophuthatswana. We were interrogated for about a week, all of us. After 14 days, we left Royal Bafokeng, but the men remained in prison. And the Khosilbone was with them. There were two divisions of people in the village. There were those who were saying, we are fighting for the king. And there were those who said, we are supporting Mangope. And in that way, everything changed. The relationships, the life in general, people got politicized.
After the unbanning of the ANC in 1990, pressure mounted on Lucas Mangope to step down and for Bophuthatswana to be reincorporated into South Africa. But Mangope formed an alliance with the right-wing AWB and prevented the ANC from operating in Bophuthatswana. In March of 1994, just before South Africa's first democratic election, Mangope was ejected from power in a popular uprising. The AWB tried to show up his regime but came under fire from members of Mangope's own police and army. Mangope and the AWB were soundly defeated. Only then did Khosilibone and Memogolo feel able to return to Bafokeng. Khosilibone's triumphant return symbolized the pride and strength of Bafokeng identity that had been downtrodden for years under Kgosi Mangope's reign, and showed the proud allegiance of the Bafokeng to their Kgosi. There was a massive celebration.